The next principle or the next thing that set of tools that we have in case of a wireless infrastructure are meant to make our life easier for implementing user access security. So in an environment, if we want to implement user access security, that is the end stations that are connecting to our infrastructure, and we want to make sure that those end stations are authenticated, and those end stations are what they are pretending to be, and they are clean enough, let's say, just to, for lack of any better word, they are clean enough to be a part of our infrastructure. We'll discuss this in more detail later on, and then you'll understand the concept that they have all the credentials, but they are not clean enough to be a part of the network. Then we should not allow them to be a part of or to get connected to our infrastructure. So wireless LAN user access security can be understood very well by looking at this slide. This slide actually explains how a user gets connected to our infrastructure. So if this is a client station, or this is a laptop with wireless enabled on it, with wireless LAN card available on it, it is either going to detect the access point. The server can either be an access point or an access controller. It is going to detect the access points beacons. The access points are generally broadcasting their beacons so that anybody around them can see what access points are available, what SSIDs are available, or it can send probe requests. So in any case, what happens is when a station sends a probe request, we receive a probe response, which means that yes, I am ready to get you connected, provided you as a station or as a client can pass the authentication tests. And once they agree to start the authentication, now two types of authentications are going to happen. First of all, we are going to have the link authentication, and if the station passes the link authentication phase, then we are going to have the access authentication. The link authentication is what is happening at the wireless interface or at the wireless level, 802.11 based authentication. In this authentication, these two are going to exchange the information so that this station can get connected just to this access point. Connecting to this access point does not necessarily mean that the station or the user or the client can access all the other resources in your network that are behind this access point. This is only connecting this client to the access point. So that is done at the link authentication level, which we can also call 802.11 authentication. So we can either do 802.11 authentication for this. What authentication methods are available for 802.11 authentication, we'll look at them later on. Or we can also have an option where we do no authentication. So either we can have 802.11 authentication, or we can also have no authentication, which means that we are willing to allow anybody to connect to our access points. This is generally the case. Although this should be done very carefully, but this is generally the case when you do it when you want to authenticate the users on a portal, and there is no authentication at the link level. The only authentication you do is at the access level. So when you go to a hotel or to a public area, then you directly connect to the access point without any authentication, and once you connect to the access point, then you are redirected, or you have to go to a portal using a web browser, and then the access authentication takes place using that portal or using that website or the web portal. Once that is done, then you get connected to the infrastructure or to the network. So this is the two-level or two-step authentication that happens. However, in enterprises, the authentication happens in an enterprise environment for the enterprise employees, not for the guests. The authentication generally happens at both the levels. You have to do an 802.11 authentication as well as an access authentication. And in enterprises, the access authentication is done using 802.1x, or you can do MAC-based authentication or portal-based authentication, or using a pre-shared key, depending upon what authentication method you are using. And we are going to look at these in a little bit more detail later on, the different authentication methods. So this slide is a very important and a key slide for those of you who are not well versed with either wireless technologies or security technologies or both these technologies, there are multiple abbreviations that we have been using, and we will use in the next few slides. It is important for you to understand these abbreviations. What do they mean? For example, WEP means Wired Equivalent Privacy. This is one of the security protocols that is used in wireless environments. But as I said earlier, this was a weak protocol, and it is no more, generally it is not being used anymore. IV is the initialization vector, which is used for encrypting the traffic that is being exchanged between an end station and the access point. WPA is the newer protocol, which has two versions, WPA and WPA2. This is called the Wi-Fi Protected Access. This is the newer protocol which has replaced WEP. Generally, it has replaced WEP for enterprise environments. EAP means Extensible Authentication Protocol, which is used for authentication. EAP with TLS, Transport Layer Security. Make sure that your transport layer communication is in SSL environments. TLS basically is a replacement for SSL. So in certain environments where you want to use TLS, you can use EAP TLS. TKIP is Temporal Key Integrity Protocol. PSK is Pre-Shared Key. We'll discuss some of these in the next few slides, so don't worry. CCMP is counter mode with CBC MAC protocol. Don't be intimidated by this, because this is all happening in the background, and CCMP generally works together with AES, Advanced Encryption Standard. So AES, CCMP are generally used for encrypting your traffic in wireless environments. This is the latest trend, or this is the latest encryption mechanism which we use in wireless networks or wireless environments. So now we are going to look at some of these terms in a little bit more detail. So starting off with authentication systems and authentication modes, as we discussed earlier, we can have the authentication either through WEP or through WPA or WPA2 or through WAPI, WAPI. WAPI is something we have not discussed so far. This is a Chinese standard which was developed by, proposed or pushed forward by the Chinese government, but then they withdrew it, so it is not used in the industry broadly these days, but it's just good to know the name. WAPI stands for, or stood for, Wireless LAN Authentication and Privacy Infrastructure. However, the most common authentication protocol or standard that you'll come across is WPA2. It's a very robust, it's a very strong, it's a very secure protocol which you use. So WPA2 is what you'll see commonly in the wireless infrastructures these days. So if you want to do link level authentication, the link level authentication means when the connection is being established between the client or the station and the access point. That's it. The scope of link level authentication is only between the wireless client and the access point. The network level authentication, the scope of network level authentication is between the client and the authentication server. That could either be the wireless controller, or in bigger enterprise environment, that would be your Radius server or your Active Directory server. Whatever Radius servers you're using, most probably Active Directory in most of the common environments. So these are the two authentications or two levels of authentication that are going to be happening in your environment. So if you're using WEP as for your link level authentication, you could either be using open system, which means no key, or you could be using a pre-shared key. But in either case, if it's an open system, then this means there is no security. All your traffic is going to be exchanged unencrypted. However, if it's a pre-shared key, then your traffic would be encrypted. However, as I mentioned earlier, it is very easy to crack the PSK of WEP. It is not a very secure protocol, so nobody uses WEP in enterprise environments. WPA or WPA2 with pre-shared key is what you commonly use. Either you can use PSK or you can use EAP as well. We'll see in the next couple of slides later. And WAPI, as I said, is a protocol which is not used in the industry generally. For the network level authentication, we can either use 802.1x, we could use WPA2 with 802.1x, We could use a portal or web, we could use WAPI, or we could use MAC authentication also. So where is MAC authentication used? Generally, we'll look at that as well. So Huawei access controllers or Huawei-based wireless infrastructure support all these authentication protocols. WEP is also supported. WPA and WPA2 are supported, and WAPI is also supported, but as I said, WAPI is limited only to certain vendors. Generally, you won't see WAPI, but this is where you need to focus. WPA2 is what you should be concerned about. You should be looking at WPA2. In WPA2, you can, in smaller environments or in small office, home office, or smaller enterprises, you can have pre-shared key authentication, but in larger enterprises, you're going to have some form of EAP authentication, extensible authentication protocol, or you could have TKIP and CCNP as well. If you look at wired equivalent privacy, as I said, it's an older kind of protocol which was based on RC4, or we also call this ARC4. ARC4 stands for, or RC4 stands for Reverse Cipher 4. It was developed by RSA. Those of you who have a background in security must be knowing Reverse. So this was developed by the same gentleman. So ARC4 or RC4 is the algorithm on which WEP is based. The protocol is based on this algorithm, but since this algorithm was not very robust, therefore the protocol was also not very robust, and that is why it is not used very commonly in wireless systems these days. It offers two options: open system authentication, that means no encryption, or shared key authentication, which means that the key is going to be shared between the client and the access point. It's a pre-shared key, and the encryption is going to be done based on that pre-shared key. Graphically, how this system works, now this is getting a little bit too technical, so those of you who were not comfortable with going too much into the depth of things, so you might as well ignore this slide. So, but it's interesting to know how encryption works in web, or generally in many other protocols. So IV, you've been hearing about initialization vector, or IV, a lot. What happens is that we combine the IV and the password, and we generate something called KSA. When you combine a random initialization vector along with the password or the pre-shared key, what we call the pre-shared key, PSK, the password, we get KSA. KSA stands for key scheduling algorithm. So based on this KSA, we generate, or from this KSA we generate the pseudo random generation algorithm, or PRGA. These algorithms are internal to web, and then this PRGA and your actual data with CRC check, cyclic redundancy check, these two entities are passed through an XOR operation, or exclusive OR operation. Those of you with sound theoretical foundation of networking, you would know that what XOR or exclusive OR does. The truth table of exclusive OR is true, it's 0, 1, 1, 0. So the output is only 1 if only one of the inputs is 1. If both the inputs is either 0 or 1, the output would be false, or the output would be 0. So this is, as I said, this is going too much into depth, but once you do an XOR on between PRGA and your data with CRC check, you get the encrypted data. This encrypted data along with the initialization vector are passed on to the network, to the other side, either to the station or to the access point, and then they can decrypt the data. But the trick or the weakness of web is that because IV is only a 24-bit number, for frequent communication, IVs might be repeated. The station or the access point might have to generate, or might have to use the same IV again and again. And if the same IV is used multiple times, anybody who is eavesdropping, anybody who is listening to the communication, they might use those repeated IVs for cracking the password or cracking the key, and they could get hold of this key. And once they get hold of this key, then it's as simple as ABC for them to decrypt your data. So basically they are looking at everything that you are exchanging, and these days it's become very easy with the powerful tools that we have to crack this and actually using this IV to crack this password. So this is the reason why WEP is not a very secure, considered to be a very secure protocol. The protocol to be used, or the protocol that is generally used in networks these days, is WPA, or to be specific, WPA2. WPA is a combination of, we look at the differences between WPA and WPA2. WPA is a combination of different protocols and technologies which include 802.1x, EAP, TKIP, and MIC or MIC. You know what 802.1x is, hopefully. EAP stands for Extensible Authentication Protocol. TKIP stands for Temporal Key Integrity Protocol. We saw that a couple of slides back on the slide which showed all the abbreviations. And MIC or MIC stands for Message Integrity Code. So 802.1x is the standard defined by IEEE for authentication, and this is a standard which can be used not only in case of wireless networks, but it is also used very extensively in case of wired network as well. EAP is Extended Authentication Protocol, and TKIP is a Key Management Protocol, as I said, Temporal Key Integrity Protocol. MIC is short for Message Integrity Code, and the important thing is that it is used to check message integrity, preventing an attacker from intercepting, tampering, or even retransmitting data packets. This is something which was missing from WEP. In WEP, we could not stop the attacker from tampering. The attacker could very easily tamper with our data. Here it is extremely difficult for the attacker to tamper with the data. The comparison or the difference between WPA and WPA2 is given here. WPA simply uses TKIP and MIC, which is relatively older technologies, They uses TKIP and MIC for encryption and for key exchange, whereas WPA2 uses the newer AES and CCMP protocols. As I said, don't be worried about CCMP. CCMP, if you want to know the complete name, what does CCMP stand for? It is Counter Mode with Cipher Blockchaining Message Authentication Code Protocol. So don't be intimidated. Simply what it means is that AES and CCMP provide you with a more robust encryption standard as compared to the traditional or the older TKIP or MIC. So in general, if you want to see in which environment you'll use TKIP and MIC or WPA, and in which environment you'll use AES, CCMP using WPA2, in small office, home office environments, or in smaller enterprise environments, you would be using WPA. Generally you would be using WPA, but in larger environments you would most probably be using WPA2. But this is not a rule, this is just a recommendation. As I said, let's ignore WAPI. WAPI is not being used in any of the current vendors' implementations of Wi-Fi. So we can safely ignore WAPI without compromising on any of the knowledge about wireless LANs or wireless LAN security. So here is a general comparison between all the security or authentication modes and encryption modes that we have discussed so far. As I said, our focus should be here, WPA or WPA2 with PSK, pre-shared keys, and WPA or WPA2 with EAP. And this is for smaller enterprises or smaller SOHO environments, and this is for larger enterprise environments. And similarly, you could also use WPA in smaller environments because this is simpler, the deployment convenience is high, and you could use WPA2 here because its deployment convenience is medium. So these are the two that you would be using, either WPA, WPA2 with PSK pre-shared keys, or WPA, WPA2 with EAT, that is dynamic key exchange. There's no pre-shared key and you are exchanging the key dynamically. So these are the two options which we would practically be using. WEP is old and not very secure. WBAPI is not widely implemented in the industry.